The following program contains strong sexual content. Viewer discretion is advised. All new today.
My daughter is dating a registered sex offender.
Have you met him?
Absolutely not, because it would be violent.
You have a young girl. He was charged with sexual abuse. Does that concern you?
No.
When it happened, I did not know it was wrong.
How can you assure me that he's not touching my granddaughter?
Are you a victim here, or are you guilty? Let's do it.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
I hate to see people suffering, and you've hurt long enough.
Stand by, Dr. Phil.
Roll second. Take.
I'm going to get you the help that you need.
5, 4.
This is going to be a changing day in your life.
Go, Dr. Phil.
Well, now, I know, thank you very much. I know you've heard this before. Maybe you've even said it. My mom cannot stand my boyfriend. Well, the hate goes a whole lot deeper today, and for a far more serious reason. Michelle refuses to even meet her daughter Melinda's boyfriend. She won't talk to him, can't even say his name. Why? Well, because she is dating a registered sex offender. Now, he says, look, I was just a child at the time. He hates being labeled as a sex offender. He's 26 now. He says he is living the straight and narrow. But Mom Michelle, well, she's scared because Melinda has a 4-year-old daughter, and it was a young girl that he offended against. She's convinced this man is not even almost reformed. Take a look.
My daughter Melinda is dating a registered sex offender, and I'm totally disgusted. That thing that my daughter chooses to date, I cannot refer to by name. It is true that I do refer to it as it. I honestly believe that the it is pursuing my daughter to get to my granddaughter. In my honest opinion, once a sex offender, always a sex offender. About my daughter dating a registered sex offender, I am absolutely 100% without a doubt. Even if Dr. Phil tried to convince me himself that I was wrong, I am not wrong. Not wrong. Not.
If you want to join our conversation today, you can tweet us at Dr. Phil #boyfriend. You can do that right now and be part of this show. And trust me, I'm sure many of you will agree that Michelle has the right to be concerned. Do you feel, and we're referring to him as Jack, do you feel that he's trying to hurt your granddaughter?
Absolutely.
You already think this.
Absolutely.
Not just that he is a potential risk, you think he is an active risk.
Yes. I feel he's grooming my daughter to get her so wrapped up in his that his eye, that's all he's looking at. The end result is, I'm going to have this, I'm going to have this.
What's your daughter say about this? I mean, if her priority is her daughter and her daughter's safety, why does she say she's not concerned?
Obviously, to me, my granddaughter is not her priority, and she's not looking out for her safety. The risk is there. How can you assure me that he's not touching my granddaughter? You can't possibly tell me that this 4-year-old granddaughter of mine who sleeps with her mother or somebody 7 days a week is not crawling in bed with that creep and my daughter.
You don't say his name. In fact, you've got a list of names for him. You call him bleep, it, scumbag, pedophile, rapist, child molester, nameless, worthless, creep, disgusting, pig. You call him that piece of that thing you're seeing. So you have no respect, no
Absolutely
regard
none.
for this individual in any way.
No.
Have you met him?
Absolutely not, because it would be violent.
Well, Melinda says the real issue is not her boyfriend. It's her mother's absolute, total need to dominate, control, and dictate every aspect of her life. Take a look.
I don't feel that my boyfriend should be on the sex offender registry. He was just a kid. I have a connection with him that I feel my mom would never understand. I trust him with all of my heart. I just don't get that vibe from him that he would ever harm anyone intentionally. My family keeps asking me to choose between him and them, and I keep telling them that it's everybody or nobody. I want my mom to know that I do love him. He loves me. We're not breaking up. There's just no way.
What we have here is someone that has been convicted of a felony for offending sexually against a young girl. You have a young girl. Did you think that through?
Yes.
And tell me, give me that thought process.
I know he was wrong with what he did. In the family, a lot of us have dealt with sexual abuse in some sort of way. I just feel like he was a kid. He was experimenting, probably.
Are you trivializing this? Are you minimizing this and underreacting to it? I don't know. I'm asking.
I don't think so.
So why do you say this is just about control on her part? Does she not have a legitimate concern here?
She does, and I completely understand where she's coming from. But she's taking a thing that 2 children did.
They were at least 5 years apart. What I try to explain to you, developmentally, 5 years apart. 8 and a 13-year-old. A 13-year-old certainly has a lot more experience, no matter what it is, than an 8-year-old child.
Okay, but it's not just about him. That's not everything. It's the fact that you control everything.
I have a copy of the police report here. It says the following, the things that he was charged with. 1 count of rape, 1 count of sexual abuse, and 1 count of endangering the welfare of a child. And the police report says that his offenses against this child were from the ages when she was between 8 and 11, across 4 years. Not just an impulse, experimenting one day, but 4 years. He was 13 to 16. I did the math. Those were the ages. One was prepubescent, the other was postpubescent. Now, there is a distinction there. I just want to be sure you understand what he was charged with, and he was in jail for, what, 7 months and then made a plea deal? Mm-hmm. Okay, do you get that?
Yes.
Does that concern you?
No.
When he was released, he is a registered sex offender for life, stage 2. Mm-hmm. There are 3 stages that these predators are categorized in. And stage 1 is that they are a low risk of reoffending. Stage 2 is that there is a moderate risk of reoffending. Stage 3 is that there is a high risk of reoffending. So he is at least a moderate risk, according to the categorization system, of repeat offending.
It's my understanding he's stage 2 because of his other past of being involved in drugs and alcohol and getting in trouble.
Those are risk factors. You're exactly right.
Yeah.
Because if somebody impairs their consciousness, if they impair their ability to make a decision, and they have a history of offending against others, those 2 things combined do make them a high risk.
He's not that person anymore.
Right. Well, and you could be right about that. I don't know. I want to meet and talk to him. I want to see what he has to say. Now, before we go to break, I want to ask the question to those tweeting today: how would you react to your daughter dating a registered sex offender who says he's reformed? Michelle has never met Melinda's boyfriend. She has never even spoken to him. And later, for the first time, she is going to meet him. She is going to hear what he has to say. But first, Melinda's sister says there's much more to this story, and she's going to join us next.
If we don't get help, I know I will become physically violent. I will seek out that opportunity when I know that disgusting pig is with my daughter. I will eventually violently react.
few months back, my family ganged up on me, told me how they were conspiring to get rid of my boyfriend from my life. They also had told me that I was a bad mom, and they were working on ways to take my daughter away from me.
I would do almost anything to get my daughter and my granddaughter away from it.
That night changed my view of my family, and I can't look at them the same.
Well, that was Melinda. She is a single mom with a 4-year-old daughter who has been dating a registered sex offender for 10 months. Her mother, Michelle, is not even almost happy about it. But Melinda's younger sister, Dawn, says their mom is just overreacting. Why do you say that?
I feel like she doesn't give my sister the chance to just live how she wants to live, and it's her relationship, you know? And I don't approve of the nasty name she calls him. Yes, I was abused too. And she never calls my abuser a pig, a monster. And she could totally vocalize that to the other person. Why is it always he's the nasty one, he's the monster?
Do you have a double standard here?
No.
But are you hearing it? She's saying, I feel like there's a double standard. She has all of this passion and venom against someone that might offend against her granddaughter, but doesn't seem to have that same vitriol against the person that offended against her.
Right. The person
that's
that
a double
offended
standard
against her is not in any of our lives, is not around. He's gone. He's out.
That's false.
I'm trying to get to the bottom of what's going on in this dynamic here, and people can have different opinions, but you don't have different opinions of factual occurrences. And when people lie to me, I am done. Has the person that offended against your daughter had access to her?
No.
And you say yes. It can't be both.
I'm over that. It's
Obviously, you're not over
I'm
it
just
when you're
saying-
openly discussing it now. You are not
I'm just
over
saying
it.
the bigger picture is
Listen, I am so sorry that this has happened to the three of you. I mean that in all sincerity. That's not a new normal. You don't, come on, this isn't something that you just say, well, you know, it happened to me, it's no big deal. It happened, that you don't just begin to talk about that as though it's normal.
I did everything that I thought was right. I thought I protected my children. I thought I did everything I needed to do to bring them into this world and provide safety and security and a safety net for them and not want history to keep freaking repeating itself. And I'll be damned right now if I'm going to let it continue on to my granddaughter. You seeing this type of individual has made me go back into therapy myself.
Are you doing this to thumb your nose at your mother?
No.
Do you value your daughter?
Yes, I do.
Did you want your daughter?
Originally, when I first found out I was pregnant, no.
Are you a good mother?
I feel I am a very good mother.
Is she a good mother?
I'm sorry, but no, I do not feel you're being a good parent by the choices that you
I want to
continue
get
make.
everything on the table here. You told us, and I quote, Melinda calls her daughter bitch, smacks her in the face, and is mean.
Yep.
she has done that. She has.
True or false?
I have.
And your daughter is 4? And you
But that's
call her
ta-
bitch?
Not to her face.
It's not
I'm
taking
saying,
it out of context. You
and
are so
I'm not the
Mom,
only
let her
one that does it. You guys say that stuff too. It's not just me. It's like you're just being a little bitch right now. It's not like I straight up say, bitch. That's not what I'm doing. And smacking, it's more of a
That's
when
a
she-
lie.
when
I've
she-
seen you haul off and really smack her where it hurts her and she automatically screams and fit.
I'm asking you to be honest with me because I am trying to
know.
help you, and you need to understand that I consider myself to be what is called a mandated reporter. It means I am required by law, if I see, learn of, or know about a situation where a child is being abused, neglected, in danger in any way, I am required on the clock to report that. It is a reportable offense. So I either got to do something to fix the situation, change the situation, alter it in some way, or I am mandated, required to report that.
I don't
And
want
you
that.
need to tell me the truth, people, because I don't like what I'm hearing here,
That isn't
even
true.
a little
The
bit.
last thing that I want to happen is see my granddaughter lose her mother and the family that she's known for 4
I
years.
didn't ask you what you wanted.
and
I
that
asked you
wasn't
for the
secure.
truth.
The truth is that my daughter can be, at times, very abusive, emotionally, physically, to her daughter.
Then we've got a registered sex offender that you're dating. Does this person stay at your house?
On the weekends.
He spent the night there. Does he sleep in the bed with you?
And where's
Does
your
she
daughter?
sleep in the bed with you?
The kids have a sleepover in the living room.
Okay, let's take a break. Michelle talks to Melinda's boyfriend for the first time when we come back.
I have spoken to its probation officer to express how concerned I am. Basically, what I was told by its probation department, that it has lived up to all expectations within his probation. So therefore, there's nothing that they can do.
At the break, you were saying to me what?
That this is getting out of hand.
You said, this is getting out of hand for me. What do you mean?
Because I came here to pretty much tell my mom to back off.
I get that you're like, well, this is getting out of hand. I just wanted you to come in here and smoke my mother off my ass so I can go do what I want to do. But the problem, and I'm not saying that's not a good goal, because she does need to back off. She is too controlling.
No, I know that I have my own issues.
When she plans birthday parties and things like that while you're at work and can't be there for your daughter, that's not good. That is manipulative.
That's an absolute lie.
That is what you were doing.
You're
Okay.
such a
It's gonna
liar
end up
right
But you
happening,
notice
but
on
that's
this card, I've got issue 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's number 4. Time permitting, I'm going to get to you and tell you that you need to back off and let this girl run her own life. But I'm stuck on issue number 1 right now because I think I've got a child endangered here. And it's not just about Jack. Maybe Jack's a good guy. I don't know. I want to talk to him. He's not here because his probation officer wouldn't let him travel. Jack says when he was 13, he was just a curious kid playing doctor, and he's not the monster Michelle thinks he is. Let's take a look at what he has to say, and then we're going to talk to him.
I do not consider myself a registered sex offender. So I don't want people to know me as a person, not a label. The relative I abused was younger than me. At the age of 13, me and my victim, we used to hang out a lot all the time. She was 8 years old. She sat on my lap a few times, and I actually put my hand on her leg and on her pants. She'd never told me to stop. I never had her touch me. Touching abuse probably went on for a couple months, but not like every day. It was probably 3 or 4 times. So one day when the relative was in counseling, she brought up the sexual abuse. She made a report saying that I have touched her, and then a year later, another report was made saying that I had sex with her. That was not true. I did not do what I was accused of. I was in jail for almost 7 months. My attorney told me if I didn't take a plea with 10 years of probation and register, that they would send me to prison. So I took the deal. I am not a sex offender. I did it at the age of 13, and I'm paying for it the rest of my life. And like Dr. Phil would tell me that I'm not a bad person, it would mean a lot to me.
Well, it would mean a lot to me if he's not a bad person. I hope that's true. We're going to find out in a minute. What's your comment on that? You heard him speak? It's first time you've seen him, first time you've heard him.
Yep, disgusting. I don't think an individual, he's obviously just minimizing what he did to his victim. It's blah, 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 blah. It's like you're a felon. People who are not guilty don't plead guilty.
You said the victim was a willing participant and never tried to stop me or say no.
Are you kidding me? What kind of person?
Hold on,
is
I have
13?
absolutely no problem conducting an interview. Don't bring Jack up on satellite right now. We're going to talk to Jack. Jack, Dr. Phil, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Melinda's mother, Michelle, feels that you are trying to minimize and trivialize what took place and that you believe you, in fact, are not a sex offender.
What I have done in the past was wrong. I have accepted what I have done. I've been to counseling for it. I'm trying to take one day at a time. I would not say that what I did was her fault or my fault. It's something that happened when I was 13. And I go every day, I regret what happened. I'm not the type to hurt anybody.
I don't know how much you understand about psychology, but in psychology, you go through different courses of training. And my particular course of training was in clinical psychology. I will also tell you that once I finished up my training and got my doctorate, I did a year's postdoctoral training in forensic psychology and have worked as an officer of the court to evaluate people like you, to evaluate whether someone is worthy of being around a parent or not, and to know what signs to look for in determining the sincerity of someone and to measure their level of insight and their likelihood of reoffending. And I am troubled by some of the things you're saying here. Don't know you, you could be the nicest guy in the world, I don't know. But what I am interested in is one of the quotes you gave to us, and it is a quote, I will read it verbatim. You said, "The victim was a willing participant and never tried to stop me or say no."
Are you kidding me?
Now, you recall saying that to our producer?
I don't believe I said those exact words.
You said those. The only thing I'm changing is you used her name, which I did delete from the verbatim quote. Other than that, that's what you said, that she was a willing participant and never tried to stop you. You then said, hey, this just happened a few times. It was as playing doctor, which kids do.
No.
You didn't say those
doctor.
things? Did you say those things?
Curious. I do not remember if I said those exact words.
That's bull. What kind of person
Hold on.
is curious
I
at
have
13?
absolutely no problem conducting an interview. And if I do, you're the first one I'll come to.
Thank you.
Okay? Did you or did you not say she was a willing participant?
Yes.
How does that sound when you hear it read back to you?
It sounds terrible, actually. I meant willing participant as in she was there with me. She didn't tell me to stop. She didn't see it a problem. I didn't think it was a problem when I was a child growing up. I didn't know the consequences of it. I didn't know it was wrong.
The police report says this went on for 4 years. 13, 14, 15, I'm just telling you what the police report says.
That is not true at all.
Okay, the police report is wrong.
And no, I'm not saying that the police report is wrong. I'm saying that did not happen for over 4 years.
And you know the number one thing I'm looking for is insight. Do you get it? Do you get the gravity of what took place? And if you try to minimize it or trivialize it, that tells me that you don't get the gravity of what took place. An 8-year-old child, 9-year-old child, 10-year-old child, 11-year-old child does not have the capacity to give consent. That's why they call it statutory rape when an adult has sex with a child, because the child can't give consent because they don't have the mental or emotional capacity to consent. So when you say she was a willing participant, she is prepubescent, you are postpubescent, that is a huge gap. Do you understand that she didn't have the capacity to give consent?
Yes, I do understand
That's
that.
important for me to know that you understand that.
Yes, I do.
So the fact that she didn't stop you or she didn't run away, to blame the victim is absolutely unacceptable.
I am not blaming the victim.
Okay, well, I'm glad to hear that.
That is not.
Okay, I'm glad to hear that. You cannot blame the victim. Now, you were released with conditions of probation, correct?
Yes, I was.
And the conditions of your probation were you were a level 2 sexual predator that has to register as a sex offender for life. You must maintain employment. You can't drink alcohol or do drugs. You must stay away from areas where children congregate. No contact with children under 18 unless they're in the company of at least a 21-year-old and with permission of the supervisor. No contact with your victim. You have to report to local police with a current photo every 3 years. You can use a computer, but you can't do social networking. You got a 9 p.m. curfew Sunday through Thursday and 11 on Friday and Saturday. Have you maintained compliance with the conditions of your probation? Do you maintain that curfew?
Yes, I do.
Do you have permission from your supervisor to be around Melinda's daughter?
Yes, I do.
So you have written permission from your supervisor?
Not written permission. I have verbal permission to come over.
You need to get that in writing, because that probation officer doesn't have the authority to give you verbal permission to do that. If you don't have that in writing, they can roll up in there, yank you out of there, and violate your probation.
Yes.
I'm trying to help you. But you're saying that you're living the straight and narrow at this point, right?
Yes.
Okay. I got a problem. You know, you're wondering whether or not he is a risk. I don't know whether he's a risk. 43% of sex offenders get rearrested within 3 years. Now, only a small percentage of those are for another sex crime, like 5.1%. And actually, only 3.5% of those that do it with a family member reoffend within that period of time. So the fact is, he's probably pretty darn low risk of offending against your granddaughter and your daughter, just based on statistics. But you are a high risk for going back to jail if you violate your probation, and you've already violated your probation because you have had not one but 2 DWIs.
I had 1 DWI since I've been on probation. My first one was well before being on probation.
You realize that's a violation of your probation?
Yes, it is. I did violate probation for that. And I'm trying to live my life one day at a time, and I'm trying to make the best of my life that I possibly can.
Were you right to be prosecuted for this sexual offense?
If I was able to go down to trial, I would have tried to do what I can to make things right. Because I did get charged as an adult when I was a child for this happening.
Are you a victim here, or are you guilty?
I'm not saying I'm a victim, because I have made that mistake. It's been very hard to be charged as an adult for something that happened when I was a child, to live my life every day as a registered sex offender and have that over my shoulder. I know what I did was wrong. I've owned up to what I have done. I've gone to counseling. I've tried as much as I can.
So you acknowledge and admit that was wrong, unacceptable, inappropriate, not okay. You get that, right?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
And you're not trying to minimize that or trivialize that?
No. But as I was a child, when it happened, I did not know consequences. I did not know that it was wrong.
What do you think about what he's saying?
I still don't hear you acknowledging that you're just portraying yourself like, oh, because of this, because of circumstance, because I was young, because I didn't know any better. You've been always 5 years older. 5 years older.
All right, let's take a break. Melinda says she has no intentions of breaking it off with her boyfriend. I'm going to tell you what I think when we come back. Michelle wrote to me because she is at her wit's end with her daughter, who is dating a registered sex offender. Her daughter is at her wit's end because her mother is controlling and dominating and judgmental about not just this, but everything else that she does. One of the issues I'm talking about is whether or not we as a community should be concerned if a registered sex offender moves into our neighborhood or into our building. And it's really interesting to know that sex abusers typically don't just have one victim. I will show you how many victims they typically have. Is it 10? No. 20? No. 30? No. As many as 40 victims. 70% tend to have between 1 and 9. 20% tend to have between 10 and 40, and then there are those that go beyond. These are folks that don't get caught the first time they do this, generally speaking. So the question becomes, can these people be cured of this disorder? And the answer is generally regarded in the profession to be no. But they can be helped. They can be managed. There are treatments and control efforts that do work. Cognitive behavior therapy works, where you change their thinking. Psychoeducational therapy, which focuses on developing empathy. Pharmacology, standard assessments where you can tell if they're beginning to move in the wrong direction. Community notification and registry, restrictions on access. Often conditions of probation say you cannot be around children without supervision. And then community integration. Jack, I want to give you the opportunity to say anything you want to say.
I just want everybody to know the mistakes that I made were in my past. I'm doing what I can do with what I have. I don't want to live in fear. I don't want to live with that regret of what happened in everybody else's eyes, trying to accuse me of doing something when I'm trying to do the right thing.
You said you didn't know it was wrong. So at no time in your mind did you ever say to yourself, this is wrong?
I'm not going to say that because I did feel it was wrong.
You said earlier, I didn't know it was wrong. I was just a kid myself. I didn't know it was wrong. Now you say you did know it was wrong.
When it happened, I did not know it was wrong.
Okay.
But I had a feeling that it was.
Did you do it in front of your parents or your other siblings or your friends?
No.
If you didn't know it was wrong, why did you hide it?
I didn't try to hide it.
So, but you didn't do this with your parents sitting there. You didn't do it with any adults around.
No.
So you knew it was wrong.
At the age of 13, when this happened, I did not know it was wrong.
You're still weak and not being honest and really accepting responsibility.
I've always said you can't change what you don't acknowledge. And that insight, the ability to step outside yourself and look at yourself, the ability to be honest with yourself about things is one of the strongest predictors of improvement. I'm looking and wanting to hear you say, Dr. Phil, I didn't get it then, but I get it now. I damn sure get it now. I understand what's the gravity of what took place. I understand what this did to a little girl's life that was still talking about it 10 years later in therapy. I understand that I have possibly scarred her in such a way that it will affect her sexual adjustment, her relationship to men. I've been in enough therapy that I understand that those who have been sexually molested feel devalued. They are often at high risk for promiscuity and drugs and alcohol and poor self-esteem later. I understand that I started a ball rolling that some girl is still paying for today. I get that. I am truly and deeply sorry, and I am devoting the rest of my life to making up for it in some way. That's what I'm looking to hear from you, and that's why I'm asking you those questions.
Yes, I know all that, and I do understand all of that. I have accepted what I did was wrong.
Still to this day, even though you supposedly had therapy, you're still weak and not being honest and really accepting responsibility. I don't think that you understand the impact that you have caused, and I don't think you understand the impact that you're causing this family.
Well, let me ask you this. The things that I've said to you, do those bring some things into clearer focus about the position you need to take?
Yes, it does. As an adult, I know, and I accepted of what I did was wrong. I know it was wrong as an adult, but at the age of 13, when this happened, I did not know it was wrong.
I hope that you do find it in yourself to forgive yourself for the things that you have done in the past, that you own those things, and that you dedicate your life to doing what you need to do to stay straight and do the right thing. I'm talking with Michelle, her daughter Melinda, who's dating a sex offender. Melinda's father, Robert, is here. Where do you come down on this? Are you concerned about your granddaughter?
Absolutely. When I found out he was dating Melinda, I lost it.
You absolutely, unequivocally, must recognize that he is a higher risk individual than the general population.
I do understand that.
I don't perceive that he is in any intense therapy at this point, because if he was, and it was quality, he would have been saying to me what I was saying to him, which means he is undertreated and undermanaged in this situation for me. And you guys, come on. We have a child here. We have a granddaughter here for you, a daughter for you, that didn't pick this unit. They just got assigned to this unit. And you owe it to them to stop this tug of war. If you are behaving in an immature and impulsive way with your daughter, that needs to stop. This family needs help. This family needs an intervention, and I am willing to provide that if y'all are willing to participate in that and give you the help that you need. Will you participate in that? Do you need that help?
Yes, I do.
Do you need that help?
Absolutely.
Do you need that help?
Most definitely.
Okay, well, then we've got a plan. Thanks for being here today. So long. I'm going to get you some help with this, but you need to take it. Are you going to do it?
I'm just not satisfied with today at all.
Well, okay. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. I want to have this conversation. You say you're not satisfied with today at all. Tell me what you're not satisfied with.
Because my whole point is that everything that goes on with this family is beyond this Jack thing right now. That my mom is controlling everything in my life, or trying to. You want me to give examples?
No, I am stunned to hear what you are saying. I get the 4 issues that are going on here. The clear and present danger that needed to be assessed and evaluated in the interest of your daughter was what we focused on today. And the truth is, I didn't come here to satisfy you. I came here to protect your daughter.
No, and that's not what I mean.
And if what you want to do is have an attitude about it and a chip on your shoulder, then we can handle this differently, and I will just report this. I will just report all of this and let people deal with it.
Can I please talk? No, what
it's not fair. What is not fair?
The parent, like, I'm constantly being parented on how I'm supposed to parent. Everything is very difficult for me.
Well, you know how I look at this? I look at this like somebody calls and says the house is on fire, it's burning, and you answer the front door and said, I'd like to talk about fire prevention. Well, you know what? I don't want to talk about fire prevention until we get the fire out. When you get the fire out, then we can talk about fire prevention. You needed a clear assessment of what's going on here. And I didn't come in and give you a histrionic response. I gave you the facts here and informed you as a mother. And if you cared about your daughter, and I believe you do, then you would be real interested in everything that took place here today instead of pouting that we didn't cover all of your agenda. Because your agenda about this mother here, I went through an entire list of things that this woman is controlling about. I get it. I then acknowledged this. I criticized her for doing things such as manipulating a birthday party when you were at work and can't get there. I had an entire list of inventory I could go over with you as your bad behavior as a mother. I chose not to do that. I did deal with your sister because she's getting pushed out of the picture here when in fact she clearly has open wounds and feeling like she is a second-class citizen in this family with her victimization. So we took time and talked about that. I'm glad you were here so we could do that. And then I said I will bring you a team of professionals to pick up the task and move forward. And if you're not happy with that, sorry. So long.